The grand hall of the Zephyrian Imperial Palace stretched for nearly a kilometer, its crystalline walls refracting the light of 3 suns into cascading rainbows. Ambassador Oscar Chen stood among the crowd of delegates, dignitaries, and suitors, his modest human frame dwarfed by the towering alien nobility surrounding him. Emperor Vexter's voice boomed through the chamber, amplified by biological resonators in his chest. The reptilian sovereign stood for meters tall, his scales shimmering like polished obsidian. Is there no one brave enough to marry my daughter? His words carried equal parts desperation and rage. Oscar watched as the gathered suitors, representatives from the mightiest warrior races in the Galactic Council, shuffled backward. The Cravatian warlord, whose people had conquered 17 star systems, suddenly found the floor fascinating. The Mothcar champion, undefeated in 300 personal combat, developed an urgent need to examine his claws. They all knew the stories, Princess. Daisy the Emperor had insisted on the human name. After the peace treaty had rejected 47 suitors in the past standard year alone, the last one, a decorated Tharnax general, had fled the palace with third-degree burns after suggesting she would make an adequate political ornament. The one before that required reconstructive surgery after commenting on the quaint weakness of female warriors. Oscar had done his homework. Daisy wasn't just the Emperor's daughter. She was the youngest admiral in Zephyrian history, a quantum physics prodigy, and held the record for the fastest time in the Imperial trials, a brutal military assessment that had hospitalized competitors from species engineered for combat. The problem wasn't that she was dangerous. The problem was that she refused to pretend she wasn't. Very well, Emperor Vexter's voice dropped to a menacing growl. If there are no takers, I shall begin selecting. I'll do it. Oscar's voice cut through the tension. The hall fell silent. 2,000 alien eyes turned toward the human ambassador. Several species translators malfunctioned, certain they had misheard. The Emperor's massive head swiveled. Human, do you understand what you're volunteering for? I'm volunteering to meet your daughter, Your Majesty. Marriage comes after that, I assume. Where I'm from, we call it dating. A ripple of shocked chittering spread through the crowd. The Cravatian warlord laughter sounded like grinding metal. The tiny human thinks he can handle the sheet. This will be entertaining. Oscar smiled politely. On Earth, we have a saying. Fortune favors the bold, though I prefer nothing ventured, nothing gained. The Emperor studied him with ancient, calculating eyes. You're either the bravest being in this hall or the most foolish. Come, meet your fate. The garden was quieter than Oscar expected. Princess Daisy sat on a bench designed for beings twice her size, reading a holographic text on dimensional mechanics. Her scales were a lighter shade than her father's, more silver than blackened. Her eyes held an intelligence that made Oscar's diplomatic training feel inadequate. She didn't look up. Let me guess. Another brave warrior come to prove his worth. Actually, I'm a diplomat. Not particularly brave. I once hid from my supervisor for 3 hours to avoid a meeting about quarterly reports. That got her attention. She closed the hologram and finally looked at him. You're the human, Oscar Chen, and you're Princess Daisy, youngest admiral in Zephyrian history, quantum physics prodigy, and holder of several records I probably mispronounce. He sat on the bench well perched on its edge. Your father seems concerned about your marriage prospects. My father is concerned that I'm making him look weak by rejecting every muscle-brained idiot who thinks a political alliance means I'll become decorative. Her tail swished with irritation. What's your angle, human? Are you here to prove Earth's bravery? Win favor with the Empire? Honestly, I'm curious. Curious. Everyone out there is terrified of you, which means you're either a monster, and I've met monsters, so I'd recognize one, or you're someone who refuses to be diminished, and that scares them more than any weapon. Oscar shrugged. I wanted to meet the person everyone's afraid of and see who she actually is. Daisy was quiet for a long moment. You realize I burned the last suitor who called me an adequate political ornament. I read the incident report. 2nd and 3rd degree burns. Minor plasma exposure. To be fair, he did suggest you'd be silent and decorative in marriage. Oscar met her eyes. I think anyone suggesting you be silent is fundamentally misunderstanding the situation. And what situation is that? That maybe the most interesting person in this empire is sitting in a garden reading quantum mechanics while everyone else is busy being terrified of her. For the first time, Daisy smiled. It was sharp, showing teeth designed for tearing, but genuine. Humans are strange creatures. We're a stubborn species, Oscar admitted. We looked at the stars and decided we belonged there, despite having no natural advantages. We saw the Galactic Council and asked to join, even though we're weaker, slower, and more fragile than most member species. Why? Because we've learned that strength isn't just physical, it's intellectual, emotional. It's standing up when everyone expects you to back down. He paused. Your father asked if anyone was brave enough to marry you. Wrong question. The real question is anyone interesting enough for you to consider marrying them? Daisy's expression shifted: calculation, surprise, and something that might have been respect. One date, she said finally. Impress me, human. Oscar, impress me. Oscar, impress me. Oscar, he grinned. I'll need to know what impresses you. Advanced mathematics, military strategy, competitive quantum mechanics. Can humans dance? Of all the things Oscar expected, that wasn't it. We have many forms of dance, actually. Good. Daisy stood, towering over him. Tonight, the Imperial Ballroom. We'll see if humans are as adaptable as they claim. As Oscar left the garden, he heard the princess return to her reading, but he could swear he heard her laughing softly. Behind the crystalline walls, the Emperor watched through security feeds. His personal advisor, a wizened Zephyrian with silvering scales, clicked his tongue. The human will fail within a week. Emperor Vexter's eyes gleamed. Perhaps humans understand something we've forgotten. That strength isn't about dominance. It's about standing beside someone without trying to diminish them. You sound hopeful, Your Majesty. I am, old friend. For the first time in years, I am. End.